This is the Truth Frequency Radio Network.
We are TFR.
Truth Frequency Radio. When you finally boil it all down, magic is imagination. We are moving into an age of manifestation. Things become actually less material, more ethereal. The golden dawn is when we awaken to this new station of life. What you think becomes real quicker. Regain our imagination, regain our inner child, and let that inner child out.
My name is Frank Castle, founding member of the music group Heist Click and New York City Neo Shaman. After a serious injury sidelined my career in 2013, I decided to set out on an adventure to search for myself with the help of the plant medicine ayahuasca. What I discovered waiting for me was something I could have never prepared for. It was time for me to become something more, someone more. It was time I became fearless. Shine as my heart beats a rhythm with space and time. When the light starts to shine inside your third eye, you awake to the knowledge that you never die. What is up, everyone? It is your main man, Frank Castle, the Sorcerer Supreme, right here each and every Saturday night on Truth Frequency Radio. This is Fearless, and I'm accompanied this evening by my etherical translator, Paula Milo.
Hey, everyone.
Hey. Hey. What's up, everybody? How's it going? Shout outs to my brother, Ra. Yes, we had an amazing conversation today. I'm not going to talk about what we spoke about, but kind of connected a little bit. Shout outs to everybody in the chat room, and shout outs to my man Todd. I'll just say Todd, Cooking with Todd, right? He purchased one of the twin flame tapestries. That's an actual beautiful.
Oh yeah, it's up on Facebook. It's pretty. It's very pretty.
Picture that was done by one of our We Are Fearless artists. And you have to go to the website, IamWeAreFearless.com. Check them out. We don't have many of those up there, but it's beautiful. It's the twin flame. I keep staring at it. I'm like, wow, that looks really good. The artists that we have working with us are just amazing. Shout outs to all the artists. Love you guys so much. Shout outs to chat room. Before we start the show, shout outs to Chris and Sergio. Without you guys, we would not be here doing this. Yes. Not like this at all. So love. How are you, Paula?
I'm having a hard time. I'm having a hard time today. I really am. This started last evening, and
can you describe?
I cannot finish a sentence. I cannot get through a complete thought. We were at your house, sitting with Grandma, and I have this very anxious feeling, like I'm waiting for something to happen. It's been rough. Today I had a list of things I had to get done. I got nothing on the list got done.
What did you do, though?
I did help your mom with a few things this morning.
Did you sit out in the sun today?
Oh, yes, I did. We were out there for about an hour, I think, sitting outside.
For sure.
That did help, but I just can't get it in gear. I can't get it going.
We had the most beautiful day of weather here, and it was real clouds, whatever you want to call it. We were taking in the sun. Oh man, it was something totally surreal. I was lost in the moment. I was outside crying. I didn't know. I was telling Paul, I don't know why. I just can't keep crying. I can't stop. And I see from the sun and you feel the energy. You're like, oh yeah, it's the sun on my face and all that. But I was seeing and feeling way more, like how it activates you, how it's feeding you.
The
information
yeah,
that comes down in the rays of the sun itself and hits you, and how you can feel that the sun is pulsating if you just feel with your heart what's going on. You could feel it on your face. You could smell it in the wind. You could taste it. Okay, you can hear it if you just silence your mind enough. And I'm in that zone where I'm like that. I find myself in so much meditation sometimes where I'm in my own thought, but it's one thought. And the thought was collect as much of this rays from the sun as possible. It's as much information and pull it down into me and help me with this new energy, clean and clear me while I'm grounded, and help me establish my growth, new beginnings, Easter, spring, all these things wrapped into one. I was saying today that it felt good to smell the life outside.
Oh yeah, it definitely did. But I felt like I did get cleared from being in the sun, but this feeling, I think I just have to push through. And I know a lot of the chat room folks are feeling the same thing, and it's like a very strong energy, a very tough energy to work through.
I find that the energy,
and I'm glad that some of the chat room folks are agreeing that they're feeling it too.
Oh yeah, we're not the only weirdos out there for sure.
Yeah, because I'm struggling.
We're getting hit with this wave, and those that are like runner-ups to be, clean and cleared first. Like, I've been doing this. We're all going through it at the same time. But even for us, right? You think Frank's DMT, ayahuasca, whatever. I haven't touched nothing, right? And it's becoming to the point where it's intense, and it is what it is, and we have to take these experiences and live in those moments and upgrade and pull it out while we can, because while we were doing all this today, what started happening exactly at 3:00, they chemtrailed the front part of the sun.
Yeah.
Right. So it caused a distortion in my reading the sun at that point. Like we got up, we went inside.
Yeah.
After
a few minutes after.
Up, I kept putting my head back, and then the messages weren't as clear. We're beginning the transformation. It's blasting you with the new energy out of the portal, the sun, and it's permeating everywhere. And then it knocks you on your butt. And for a few days, you're sluggish, can't finish sentences. I was like this for days, and people think I'm ridiculous. They're like, oh, one day you're up, one day you're down. Da, 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 da. And I'm like, yeah, well, I'm on that list to keep it moving. So I have to integrate these energies, and I got like a couple of days to do it. Well, you guys have weeks and months of processing. I have to do this in a couple of days. So I fall, then I get up, and I'm like, oh, this is amazing.
Yeah, and then I'm down.
You go right down.
At least we're not down at the same time, which is important.
That would be so terrible.
But yeah, even now I'm struggling to say the words, and I had a lot I wanted to say. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get it all out.
We'll try to pull it out.
Yeah.
But as they chemtrail the sun, I get one of my last notions. It's like what I was hearing theoretically was, if it rains, do not stand in this rain. Because it's weird. They chemtrail the skies. All of a sudden it rains the next day, right? Like, there's no rain in the forecast. Then boom, rain the next day. And then the following day, the clouds that look like giant ships kind of like just passing over with this weird breeze. And you're like, what is that? The cleanup crew? Because now the sky's clear, and that distraction and the distortion is gone.
Is gone.
Yeah, it's like you can breathe free. There's no heavy feeling anywhere. So it is our job to like pull this stuff in while we can and integrate it as quickly as possible, or as efficiently. You pace yourself with what you got to do. But for those that understand what I'm saying, this is our moment.
It feels like metal in the air. Like there are metals in the air.
Said it.
That's what it feels like, and it feels heavy, and it feels dirty. And that's the only way I can explain it.
I do feel that. I've tasted the metallic taste in the air, and people will say, well, that's just because it's a thunderstorm. There's lightning somewhere. I'm like, man, you see lightning? You hear thunder anywhere? Do you see any charge in the area? This is just rainfall.
Yeah, because after the charge, that's when the air is the cleanest, because it's charged.
It just evaporated everything that's not supposed to be there.
Exactly.
We're supposed to be living in a healing, fixing environment.
Exactly.
Right? When those dark things or those issues show up and you get a nice fresh thunderstorm and nice clean rain.
Yeah, it cleans the air.
When's the last time you had one of those? Or it wasn't dirty money.
But that's what it felt
clean,
like.
you know?
The rain that we got yesterday, that's what it felt like. It
dirty.
felt heavy and dirty.
I felt like I was outside. Okay, so that's going to get to one of the things I wanted to talk about. About you were still collecting this stuff from the rain and the products and the water and the food and the air and everything we're doing, and now they want to go 5G. I was confronted by a giant octopus the other night. I mean, huge. And I was told to relax. And I said, oh, here it goes. But yeah, exactly. Roxy was actually in the room with me when this happened. I said, what are you doing here? But I didn't know who he was. I just said, octopus. You got to go. I saw tentacles kind of touching me, but not grabbing me, just touching me lightly like, yo, I'm here. And it looked like the old representation of an octopus where its tentacles kind of almost like a tattoo where they curl to show you, look, I'm over here. It's almost like they wave with the tentacle by curling them to you and then curling them out to reach out for you. Okay, so I've never seen an octopus like this. Not this size, not this big, but something was weird. It felt organic, like really organic, like smarter than me and organic and a living being. And it said to me, sit still, don't move, just breathe. And you're going to learn today, once again, not every being that like you put into a category like octopus are bad.
Yeah, is bad. Mm-hmm.
Right? Those beings that are like that to you, some of them are duplicates of us, mimicked by AI systems and control systems because we're efficient at what we do. But we're also super intelligent. So there's good, there's neutral, and there's evil, and everything in between in our species. And you are putting octopus on the list with the AI thing, right? So all octopus are bad. Okay, one of the things, and I've said this on the show before, things I'm not allowed to eat.
Oh, yeah. Octopus.
Octopus.
Yeah, whale. Dolphin.
Right? Like dog. No eating dog. They're like, do not eat dog. No eating cats. You're not supposed to be doing that. These are higher beings.
I think that's it.
On the
higher
top
beings.
one was like octopus, whale, dolphin were like the top. Mm-hmm. And I said, I would never eat that anyway. I don't eat. They go, we know you don't. We're letting you know why you don't.
Right.
Those are literally DNA connections, family from other places put here because you're the living library. So they all come here like the whales, their vocals.
Higher intelligence.
Hold frequency for this planet. Mm-hmm. Those beautiful whale songs, right? I'm not allowed to call killer whales anything but orca or whale or family. I'm not to call it a killer whale. They're like, they were like, you fall in that water with that shark. You better hope one of us are around because you might get help. Why? Why did dolphin come to the rescue? Why do these things come to the rescue? And they're big monstrous beasts. Because we're you.
Connected.
We're connected from there to here to the planet. We're all born through the same system. Each one of us with a different purpose to do a different thing. So if you don't think an organic being that lives on the planet can be a conscious, I don't know what you would call it, non-holographic being, raw consciousness being. I've met so many raw consciousness beings. It's blowing my mind now. Okay, so let me get back to the octopus. So the octopus says to me, don't move. No, he's explaining the octopus aren't all bad. He didn't even show me his under teeth because he knew that would frighten me. It was almost like he kept his front down to not freak me out. And then we started putting his tentacles behind me, and I'm like, oh, here it goes. You always go for it. This is what this, right? And I was freaking out. And he grabbed tentacles off of me. Like, get off of him.
Clearing you. Mm-hmm.
And then the tentacles were metallic. I freaked. Listen, I have a sigil I use to keep the AI out of me, right? And they're like, no, it can't activate within you. It can try, but to no avail, you're riding a different frequency, so it doesn't work. Although, however, You have it in you like the next person over that has to
Right.
be purged. The tentacles are there.
Right.
They are trying at all costs to make sure you specifically with Paula do not open your mouth at any time and is in full understanding what you're doing, but can't reach you. But they're in you, just like you went out in the rain the other day. It's
Right.
in you.
Right.
Just like everyone else. You're not special. You have it.
Yeah.
So now I'm going to remove it from you. And you're going to see an act of kindness because I can do that for you.
And in kind, you're going to tell a story.
Okay, so yes, I'm going to let them know
Yes.
that once again
They're being heard. You're letting them know they're being
You have a voice at
heard.
the table. Not all reptilians are bad.
Mm-hmm.
I'm telling you right now, I have a few that look
Yes.
like so intense, but their heart, everything is done from the heart. There's nothing they want from me other than me to level up. That's all they want. They were like, anything we can do to help. I
Because
love you.
their survival depends on your
And what
survival.
did they do? They came here, though. You remember.
To
And they were
help.
like,
yes.
why are you saying reptilians are bad? Why are
Yes.
you saying angels aren't real? They sent
Yes.
angels to me.
Yes. That's when we were going back and forth. And I was telling you, no, it has to be. If you believe in one thing, you have to believe in it all. You have to take it all. You take it all or you take none of it. You can't say Fraggles and Smurfs okay, but Care Bears don't exist. It doesn't work like that. Or like, okay, I believe in Bigfoot, but I don't believe in the Loch Ness Monster. It doesn't work like that.
Yeah, UFOs aren't real.
You have to take
but
it
underground
all.
Bases, with just AI is real.
And then
it's all there.
We were talking, and that understanding, allowing yourself to believe that it all is possible and it all exists, makes it easier when you come into contact with these entities, because you can say, well, it does all exist.
And I am one of those in our relationship.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
the other side of the coin. So naturally I'm reactive. So it's like, oh, and I told you today.
Yes.
Because I have another story for later on. I saw something that shook me to my core, and all I hear is Paul going, but it all exists. Everything is real. Don't you remember?
Everything
And
is
I'm like,
real.
oh, so you are real. Oh, okay. So this helps me when whatever rolls up. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You're not harming me. You're not doing anything to me. Okay, now that we got through that, what are you doing here? What are you? What is this? What is that? Discernment galore, up and down. There's no praying, no kneeling, no bowing, no head nodding, no eye blinking. If this is a staring contest, I may step back and be like, whoa, but I'm not going to flinch in your presence. I may be in awe for a moment. Sometimes a moment's too long, but I'm beginning to learn because the things are getting crazier and crazier.
Yes, because shock and awe is part of it. So allow yourself to shock and awe, and then pull yourself together, and then move on with it.
Let me ask you a question. In your opinion, what would be scarier? Seeing spirits and dead relatives or spirits, naturally, but just people that that passed, literally in the room with you, or meeting an ET and shaking hands with like an ant being that's a total person being from inner earth or something, because it's all on the table.
It depends. It depends on where you are emotionally. We're allowed free will. That's the problem with us humans. That's why we're so attractive to these other entities, because we are allowed free will. So to ask me a question like that, I can't answer it.
But I'm asking you,
well,
you have the free will to pick this choice.
Me. Well, I mean, I've seen dead relatives and I've seen entities. So I haven't seen them the way you've seen them, but I have seen them.
That doesn't diminish any experience to make it any less or more.
No, I think it would be whatever would scare me more emotionally. Which dead relative would it be? Which entity would it be? What would the circumstances be? I can't say. I think I'd handle it both the way I handle everything else. I'd be like, oh, all right, you want something to eat? But that's just the way I am.
I hear you. I would be more weirded out by the ET experience if it was a crazy kind of ET, like the ant being or the crocodile headed being. It's just something weird like that at first. But then I feel in my heart of hearts, we already knew all this to be real. Like a chimera is just your DNA, picture your DNA, right? And I change it. I take you scientifically and put you in a jar, and I change your DNA and give you a lion's head and wings, right? And I don't know if that would work. I'm not a scientist, but I'm saying it's just DNA manipulation, right?
Right.
So
one
why
form,
wouldn't
one form or another?
one form or another? Like my brother says to me during one of our conversations, "Oh, dude, if you go back in time and talk to one of these dummies, they're all dummies." And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" He goes, "They're not smarter than us. We're the smartest ever." And I go,
"No.
Are you on crack?"
No.
Like I go, maybe like if you go back 200 years.
No, not
like,
even. No.
Oh, no, but oh, yeah, that was another thing. Maybe not, because there were some pretty smart dudes.
No.
But what I meant was Atlantis. I go, you go back to Atlantis, and he's like, "Well, how do you know what they're working with?" "Oh, I know, ayahuasca." And I go, no. You start to remember.
It's an understanding. You have an understanding of it.
We talked about it today. There was science mixed with etheric stuff. Like at one point, science was trying to blend with the spirit world, and that's where these problems started to erupt a little bit. We were digging in a little too deep in areas we didn't understand. But those guys were highly intelligent, so much so they were speaking multiple languages. They were jacked out of their mind. They were like perfect human forms. I was like, there's limited sickness, if any. Like, it was different. So how do you know those people aren't just dead up smarter than you? I'm a dummy. I'm with Joe Rogan on this. You put me on an island with 100 people. How long? With nothing. How long before we can send an email? How long? You're so smart. How long?
How long?
Right? It's funny. I watch the cartoons, and like a dude will come from another planet, and he'll go, "Oh, I could add rockets to your ship to make it go speed of light." And he's like, "Well, how the hell do you know that?" He's like, "Well, it's basic kindergarten work where I'm from."
Exactly. Well, it was like Cable when in Deadpool 2, when Cable comes back and he's trying to off that kid, he gets all the parts he needs to build a gun. And they're all just electronics, and he builds a gun.
He had the computer telling him now this, and he was going to dun 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 building the machine.
Because that technology is exponential. So he came from the future, and now he's coming back. It's a primitive time.
Exactly, but the funny part is that all exists now.
Yes, because it's always now.
Well, not only is it always now, whatever stream of consciousness that is delivering the information to filter through the ether for you as an antenna to pick it up is happening all the time. So it doesn't happen more in the future to make flying cars. It's happening the same amount all the time. It's always on, always activated. It's how you tuned in and aware to it. So the more tuned in and aware you become, the quicker you get that stuff.
Exactly. It's like that 100 monkey theory, right? You teach 100 monkeys something, and a 99 monkey something, and the 100th monkey knows what to do.
The 101 picks up the stick.
Picks up the stick and knows what to do.
Yeah, 2 of them pick up a stick, start beating up the enemy.
Yeah, so what do we have?
Works.
We have Candy Crush, right? So people of Earth, we have Candy Crush, right? They don't teach you how to play. You just sign into the app and you learn how to pray.
So much.
You learn how to play. You hear what I said? I said pray. But you learn how to play.
Yes.
They don't teach you. You just figure it out.
And it goes into the collective consciousness. People say, "Hey, you didn't know you could bonus this, that, the other thing."
It absolutely does. It absolutely does go into the collective consciousness.
You're on the couch and you're like, "Don't give me the iPad. It'll turn into crack."
That's why I said don't transfer it onto the iPad. I mean, I know I shouldn't even be playing it. I know why I shouldn't be playing it. But
if you know why, and you're okay, and you're cool with even the poisons of this planet. I'm not telling you to poison yourself, but like it's in the products and stuff. I like Doritos, I know they're poisonous. I'll go days, a week with nothing, and then I'm like, "Yo, man, I need a chip." Like I go to the store in the corner. They only have the ones with the the crappy ones. So I buy a small bag, eat them up, yum 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 yum.
Yeah, and then you're good for a day or two until you get another chip.
We're in this place.
Yeah.
If I want a Goodyear bar, I'm gonna buy one and eat it. Like if I want a milkshake, I'm gonna have one, but I'm not gonna have anything remotely like that all the time. And I'm gonna be in gnosis that this is what I'm doing. And this is how I'm going to do it, and this is why I'm doing it, and I'm okay with it.
Yeah,
and
I'm okay with it.
Which also means you got to be okay with drinking the milkshake and then going and purging
Suffer
your brains
the
out.
consequences.
Because
You're okay
your
with
body's transforming, and we don't like dairy that's been dead and manipulated with hormones and stuff in your body, even though that tastes delicious. So guess what? Bathroom 3 times minimum first thing this evening after you pass out. And it's like, oh, I'm willing to deal with that because I'm in this space, and every once in a while I need a friggin' milkshake.
Yeah.
And you know what? I don't care.
And you own it.
And I own it.
You own it.
You know? That's just the way it is. But then handle your business. It's okay. You know, you want to go have a McDonald's burger? I don't suggest it, but if you do own that shit, own it. Right? Just don't make it a habit. Know what it is. Know it's a distraction and something to lower your vibration.
Oh, absolutely.
And
But everything is a distraction. Everything.
Listen, you do what you got to do.
Look,
Everyone loves White Castles, but
Frank
we all
ran
love that
out.
bathroom afterwards, right? No.
Frank ran out this evening to the store to actually get a bag of Doritos. And I locked up behind him, and all of a sudden I heard a bird cawing in the yard. So I looked out the window, and there were a whole bunch of cats around this bush and the bird cawing. So I grabbed the phone. I called Frank, and I've never made this call. I was like, Frank, you have to get here immediately.
She called me back from blocks away.
Yeah, the
ran.
cats are surrounding a bird in the bush. You have to come back. Now, I've never made a phone call like this, and Frank gets there like in light speed. And you know, we get all the cats away, and we find out that it's not a bird.
I yell at all the cats, back up! They all back up, and guess what jumps out? A giant
field mouse.
Field mouse.
It was horrible.
And the pack of cats then
descended.
They did their job. Keep that out of mind.
But I had good intentions. It's my
beauty of a creator. So insane. Your protection from deception will be back right after the.
No hate, no hype, no fear.
You're listening to Truth Frequency Radio.
We are TFR.
Am I a weak or is this a dream? A fantasy where I'd rather be. So come and talk with me. Come and walk with me. Is this a wake-up call from my reality? Have you seen my friends? Have you seen my girl? Wake me up from this. I'm trapped in this world.
What is up, everybody? My name is Frank Castle. We are back. This is FearLess. And shout out to Nick Dervos in the chat room. What's up, man? Great We Are FearLess artist and just all around awesome dude. So just want to give you a shout out and to answer a little bit about Dawn talking about her hands passing through the keyboard if this wasn't real and the energies weren't real. Okay, so what stabilizes the molecular structure of everything in the entire universe, in our universe, okay, is a constant frequency, a sound like Om, that's on a constant ring, like the sand in the dish that creates the fractal pattern of whatever sound you're sending through the speakers. There's an agreed upon sound that if you want a free will universe, it's got to be like this.
Yes.
They turn the machine on, right? And then you step into the holographic nature of the machine, thus making your keyboard. When those specific molecular structures and the plastics are put together, you get to type something, right? And build things that we can already do, making us weaker of the mind, but making the technology stronger. Right? That's the bizarro system of this place.
Yep.
It's the infection. We're going to purge the infection out, and we're going to make everything work in our favor. It's going to be a beautiful experience. One of the things I was commenting about, Paula fell asleep the other night, and we were finished one movie, and another came on, and it was Tron. So Tron is about a guy, excuse me, who creates a game, he creates a program, and inside the program, there's a society that exists inside this game, Tron, right? So the creator, the user, the programmer, goes into the game. He gets sucked into the game through the new technology, right? But one of the things when they needed to Tron was the guy's creation specifically. He created the hero. So Tron in the game opted to protect him in the game.
Right.
Because, you're my user. You're the programmer. Oh, it's you. Okay, so they have to get a message out to the real world. Okay, now imagine being inside their holographic structure. They're driving light cycles literally inside of the grid and the patterns that we talk about.
Which is the chessboard.
That's the chessboard. It's the holographic room. They're actually that's
on the chessboard.
That's what they're where they live, right? Like that's the beings that you would find in this area. So they follow the grid to this area to a meditation chamber, and Tron has to take his disc on his back. And he's known for throwing the disc like a frisbee and defeating enemies and all that. So he gets there and he's like, no, all the information is in my disc. And she goes, what do you mean? Now, Tron is basically the living library to their environment.
Right.
So everything that exists, will exist, can exist, or whatever that has ever been programmed, that is being programmed at that moment, is inside his disc. So he takes it off his back, goes into the meditation chamber. It's this little hill. He stands on it, and they say, hurry, the spiders are coming. So these spiders that look like AIs that show up, they make this little bend at the knee, and it like poops out another version of itself.
And you've seen those spiders.
I've seen them, and they look way more scarier than the Tron ones, but they're exactly like that. And they start multiplying out, and they're going to go attack him, right? So, all right, I was talking to Shaman Jimmy about this specifically. I said, Joe, every single day I say to myself as a mantra, I am a pillar of light in the darkness.
Right.
Right. So people have talked to me about that. They're like, why in the darkness? I'm like, because we're in the void. The void isn't separate from us. We're inside the darkness. So we are the light in that. And that's what you have to expand upon. Right. So he sends his disc up in a pillar of light. And as the spiders go to attack him, they're attracted to the pillar of light.
Right.
It's like in his disc is his actual consciousness. He can't defend himself from the spiders. He can only create the pillar of light and send the disc up. And he sends the disc to the real world. And he contacts the outside, another dude playing the game or something. And I'm like, what is this? Right? And then Tron is like little inside the machine. The dude sitting in the machine is big. I've talked about popping out and then seeing the big version of me and being like, hey, big guy. And he's like, hey, little guy. And I'm like, you're me. I'm you. I talked to Paula about this today. When I met the higher you, Irma, right? I said, that's Paula. Oh my. And I danced and I was like a little baby. I was like, I can't believe it's you. Look how, the higher versions are just, wow. But they're like, yo, it's you. You could just become them. You could just do their little switch.
Self.
It's the highest and greatest of all.
Of everything.
Right. And I was allowed to go into your energy.
Yeah,
and
it was
then
really
in
cool.
your energy, it was like, I talked about this. You're on a ship, you're gigantic, and you're a spirit. And to interact physically, because you can't really do it, you can, but it's limited. You stick your head into this ball of energy, and then it's like your energy disseminates like a record player spinning, and it starts to begin to sing the song of your life. Inside the energy, though, you're living in the sphere of time, so it's like you're fractaled out doing all these crazy things. But it was like, Paula is good, Paula is good, Paula is great, Paula is good, Paula is great, Paula is beautiful, Paula is love, Paula is good, Paula is great, Paula is... But it kept going and going and going. And then it goes down to the furthest point, and that's where you sit, because we are the furthest you can go.
From there,
and from there and have any awareness that this is going on. So it's the same thing. We just go on... So Tron interacts with the real world through the computer by throwing his disc up into the pillar of light, thus stopping the AI spiders. 1978, guys, Disney.
But that's real life.
Look,
we're throwing up signs all the time. Why do you think no one believes anything they see on the news anymore?
Listen, go watch Tron 1 and 2 right now. When you're done with the show tonight, you got nothing to do, go watch it.
And
watch what happens.
people have been saying it. The people that believe that we're going through this transition right now, they say that, most of the real truth is going to come from the internet. There are going to be cures for cancer coming through soon, I believe, and there's going to be no way to stop the information. So
Once it pours out, it's pouring out.
I mean, they
to the
pull the
public.
information from the internet, but once it's out there, it's out there. So these things are going to slowly start to happen. You know, like, oh, look at the whole Bitcoin thing now. Bitcoin is now a thing again. You know.
Listen, I told everyone just
Yeah,
to Google
hold,
it.
just hold.
Just get what you can and hold on to it. So many people just did what they wanted to do. Naturally, you do whatever you want to do. I don't really care. But I'm looking out for my fellow creators. Like, you guys have a chance to ride a wave that you're not seeing the wave yet. And I've been privileged amongst others to see it coming. And it's not a false thing. It's not another currency that's going to...
No, they're building.
They're literally phasing out money. All right, your phone... All the new phones,
Yeah, are going to have
Samsung 10
the
or 11,
cryptocurrency
whatever,
app, right?
it comes built into the phone.
Yeah.
And it's one of those apps you can't get rid of. It's a
It's like
bank
Facebook,
app for
yeah.
your phone, right? Facebook just billions into their own currency for crypto. You're on crack if you don't think a wave is coming that you have no clue. Like, how long are they going to let the Ponzi scheme go on for? I know you've been hearing it for years, but now is the time. Back then wasn't the time. Then you were supposed to be buying in dips and all this. I didn't know nothing back then, so I can only talk for the last 4 years. But when I started chirping, I don't want to make this sound hubristic. I was kind of doing it a little bit before the ring started, but that ring was already going. It just wasn't as vocal as it was in my category of like where I'm vocal with people. And it came into that, and I started, Bitcoin. And people were selling and telling me, wow, what did you do with your Bitcoin? You just, I made 7%. Did you pay? I said, yeah, I got rid of this garbage. It's garbage. It's just a new fad. Yeah, Bitcoin is going back up. If you bought at $20,000, that's your problem. You were a dummy not buying at $400. But that's what happens. You still hold on to it. You don't lose it.
But
It
you
doesn't
can
disappear
still
to zero.
you can
They didn't
still
go to zero.
Yeah, but you're still going to make money if
That's
you
what I'm
buy
saying.
now. But it doesn't even matter. But the
It's going
thing
to go to
is,
$1 million if you bought in at 20,000.
but the thing is, it's a collective consciousness. So if people
It's a
stopped
wave.
talking about it, and now they started talking about it, and now it's a thing again. You know,
It comes back around, they say. And now
Absolutely.
it's coming back around quicker and quicker and quicker.
but everything is
Everything.
all of our everything that we've been talking about. I was tested a couple of times just in the last couple of weeks, personally, and I passed at least to my standards, I passed every test. And
You don't know. You hit those checkpoints, you're like, yo.
Frank and I discussed it, and he was like, "Oh my God, I can't believe it." You know, now things are happening much quicker than they've been happening before. You know, manifestation is happening much quicker. You know,
Much quicker.
good and bad.
It's all the spiral. What does he say? Spiral out? Spiral up?
Yeah.
Right? Okay. What do you think we're doing? We're antennas. You're sitting in the torus donut, the middle of your own torus donut, bringing stuff, attracting it, and deflecting it off of you. You're spiraling it in. What does Toth say? Don't travel in straight lines, travel in spirals. They can't catch you because we're literal imagination and creativity come to life. It's you. It's me. You can not have to travel the straight line and travel in a curve and still get there faster than those who travel in a straight line and a bazillion miles an hour faster than anything you've ever seen. No one's faster than you as the creator.
Well, we were talking about this too. One thing.
Distance and time, space.
Yeah.
Don't make me laugh at you.
Yeah, one thing at a time. It's still always going to be one thing at a time. No matter how you're looking at things, it's always you can only complete one thing at a time.
One moment.
Yeah,
after
one moment
experience
at a
after
time.
the other. That's why we tell people that are like really good multitaskers, but keep going and not relaxing. Yo, calm down, and they tell you to shut up, and you're like, yo, but you're missing the moment. You're
not living
pushing
in the moment.
so hard. You never stop for the moment. You're just completing tasks. So you're excellent in completing tasks, but you've never lived in the moment. So sitting still for you is a nightmare. A nightmare. If 5 minutes is hell. But that's 5 minutes for you to not have to maybe lift bricks up a mountain.
We got a solid hour today. Solid hour, uninterrupted hour.
I'm going to tell you guys, I was crying and crying and crying. All right, so this week at my house, I saw the Virgin Mary standing over my grandmother who's dying in my living room. And I backed off. My whole family was over her thinking she was just going to conk out, and she didn't. She like kind of bounced back a little, but she's not bouncing back. You know, they get really good and then they get really dark or whatever. But I was standing there and I backed up. I was just holding her foot and everyone was like huddled over, and the image appeared. And I said, oh, it wasn't an image. It was, they were just out of focus. It was a they. It wasn't Virgin Mary at all, by the way. It was a beautiful E.T. I mean, gorgeous, wearing the veil. It was just so unexpected, but it was the exact feeling you would expect, minus there was no darkness. Oh, you guys don't even know. I try to pull my light sword and go nuts, and then wallowed over instead and kind of just stuck the light sword out like a handshake.
Because
and
it was
hug.
beauty. Yeah.
And I got the hug, and I went, oh, you're not AI. You're awesome. Holy like you exist. You're not Aya though. You're not Isis though. She was like, yo, though, I encompass that energy. That's energy.
Yes.
Isis, goddess energy.
Mm-hmm.
Like you, abundance, the Lakshmi energy. Like she may have been a being or whatever at a time, but I encompass all of that in one being. And I'm separate from them, but we're not separate at all. Like I'm my own thing, but I'm the one that's been here the whole time like this. And I'm like, but you're beautiful. And they're like, you would not understand this though. You would never understand this. Like you would lose your stuff. And I'm like,
you would.
Yeah, I could see that. You're real tall too. And it's really weird, but not, it feels great. Like I know you. And very comforting to come home and find the distractions.
Well, all their sisters were there too. I mean, they were family members in the house.
My Aunt Mary, who's been dead a few years, is my mother's going, your grandmother.
Many years now.
Paul is like, whenever a person's passing, going through the experience, at one point they try to take their clothes off because they're leaving their body. The same thing happens during ayahuasca, right? I tell people.
Yeah, they
and
try
all
to
you
take
people
their
that I
clothes
told you know who you are. Keep your clothes on
Keep your clothes
during
on.
the experience. It's not going to be me who touches anything. It's going to be me like getting Paula to be like, "Yo, you're a girls, relax. Keep that on. Don't let me have to tell you." Why? Yeah, I'm not going to take my bra off. You're retarded. And then people go in and go, get me out of my skin, and they start digging in their chest and just ripping their bras. And I'm like, yo, what are you doing? I need to get out of these clothes. Like I've had lots of people do this. So I'm watching someone go through the thing of passing, and it's like lots of little ayahuasca experiences where I go in and Aya shows me what death is and kills me. One night I counted, it was over. I stopped at 49 and I was laughing. I started going, at 49, I was loving it, going, do it again. And they're like, you're not dying, you're changing frequency. You just stop using the word death. You're using this permanent thing. The avatar is Viola or Frank or Paula is just the vehicle you're using, but I'm standing right here.
Yeah.
And you're thinking I'm somewhere out there. So you're praying to God and you're looking out there, and I'm standing in front of you going, don't you feel me? I'm right here. Well, I can see those things.
Yeah, you can.
Hard. My Aunt Mary came in. Yo, guys and gals, Fearless family. My Aunt Mary told me and my brother a story about when the sailors came home from war. Right? She was mad old. All right. She's like, man, I wasn't married at the time. Me and a bunch of the girls got together. We put on the sailor hats. Woo woo. A lot of these sailors didn't have families to come back to, so we were there to greet them. So we were like, oh, Aunt Mary, so what did you do? Did you go dancing? Because people were there's pictures of people dancing in the street and throwing streamers. She's like, yeah, we'd meet and, hook up and have relations. And my grandfather goes, you dirty whore. You had sex with everyone. And she goes, and I still want to. And this would go on to the day
goodness.
She died. She would try to fondle you, touch you, guy or girl. At one point, she didn't care. And she's like, ah. So it was that moment, like in Beer Fest, when they're like, great grandm's not a whore.
Awful.
Right? So, Aunt Mary, though, was tough, man. She'll throw you a beating. And she had 3 husbands on top of that, so she outlived everyone and did all these things. Anyway, she comes in the kitchen while my mother's telling us, I think you were sitting right next to me.
I
on my
was.
right.
I was sitting in the back.
She had her hand on my shoulder and my mother's, like we were huddling. And she's like, yeah, tell her we're right here. And I'm like, holy shit. You're standing right there.
Yep.
And she's like, you can see me. I knew you could see me. But then again, your blood. This is how I found out Viola was my bloodline.
Mm-hmm.
How it brought me. Viola actually takes me through Russia back to Egypt that way. It's the weirdest thing. The go round goes like this, where you're like, wait, that makes no sense. Oh, that makes total sense. If you have an experience over 10,000 years with multiple frames of reference in multiple fractals, yeah, I get it. You know, people lose sight of the fractal thing because you're in focus of one thing or another. When you're aware of it, and the more you get to work with your fractal, you begin to realize when you time travel or you want to go somewhere where things are a certain way, you can just jump into your body there. So you're not really going you just go to that fractal. I learned something making the sauce, right? And I couldn't figure it out. And I went back, I found the scientist version of myself.
Yes.
That he was sitting at the table. He goes, Eureka, I did it. Now I just need to find people that'll do it. So his wife is going, I hate you. You don't pay attention to me, blah, blah, blah. So I walk in the room like, hey, rock star style. What's up, buddy? Hey. And he goes, hey, you're me. And he was really dry. He was kind of boring. And I go, oh, I see what you got there on the table. And he's like, yes, if I could just have someone. I go, I'm your man. I hugged him and I said, oh, your wife's going to love this. And it sounded like a Motley Crue song came through my body and hit him in his face. And he got up, took his coat off. He took his tie off. He was like, oh, my glasses are done. All the stuff's here you need. Peace. And bounced. And him and his wife, I heard them. He was like, oh, I love you. And I was like, whoa. And they go, you guys just shared information. That's you. All you did was share information and get him on the right track. That happened on a spirit level. Physically, he just got up off the table and walked away. Right? He doesn't have anything that he's there.
Right.
That we're doing that stuff.
Right.
So then that's how I got the ending of the formula that I was getting in correctly every time. So I went to the perfect version of myself. So that freaked me out a little bit this week.
I think this is the perfect version of yourself.
Oh, I'm creating. I know now what's happening. And I know when I see things on myself that I really enjoy. Because I look at myself in the mirror. I was doing it today with my shirt off. I don't work out or nothing. I'm just looking at myself smiling like a child looks at himself and goes like I like this body.
Yeah.
I like this meat sack looks good on me. And as I'm smiling, I realize now I'm in control of it.
Yes.
Like that light you're seeing is from me. You know, when I was looking at us today, because we get dry skin here sometimes, just like everyone else, I heard one of the ladies saying, if you look under the direct sunlight at your hand, you might see something if you feel the activations occurring in the certain spots. I talked about my hands. I think the activation is really in the wrist. That's why they have Christ getting stabbed in the wrist.
Yeah, the stigmata.
The stigmata. I think that's your chakra in your wrist going off, and they're blocking it by showing you, by putting Christ on a cross, being nailed there. And then you say, well, isn't it in his hands? But your hands are the energy activation ports. So, no, it makes sense if you nail him on the cross through the wrist, because then it doesn't break the hand. My grandfather told me that. He's like, no, you hang him on the wrist and then you'll hang. You won't break off. And I'm like, well, that's disgusting. He's like, well, that's how you do it. And I'm like, okay. Well, then in my arms, my activation ports are like in my wrist, right below my palm, like right in my wrist, where you look down, you see the vein, you're like, wow, that's the wrist, where that would be nailed to a cross. But then the output area is the circular palm. So it's like the energy center putting off the boom, boom, like where you're pulsating the energy from. And then it rises up through your hand. And I told Paul it reminds me of Spider-Man's web shooters. It was a joke. I'm like, he wears the thing around his wrist, but the button's in his palm. And he makes the little Doctor Strange sign, right? The shout at the devil sign. Everyone's like, oh, it's the devil sign. You know, Spider-Man's using that all day in his movies. And so is Doctor Strange, everyone else. is it satanic, or are they activating the ports in their hands?
I think so.
And it comes up from the wrist and
Yes.
activates and shoots out forward. Right?
I agree.
Input, output. One foot's going to put in, one foot's going to put out. Right? It works that way up and down. That's why I say grow roots when you ground, right to the center of the earth. Don't even worry about nothing else. Ground, see roots grow and wrap around the center of the earth. And then when you hit that little light source, that ball of energy that you would think is in the middle of that earth, you light up and you go as high and as forward as you want. You pull in whatever energy you want and you say, bring that to me. I'm an alchemist. This is what we do. And you bring it, and then it hits you. You bring it in and you work with it. Right? So it's like, are you feeling the Shiva energy? I want to be good. Da, 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 da. And you bring it into yourself. You wrap yourself in it. You get a gnosis of it. People sometimes claim making love to the actual character, Shiva or Kali or something like that. Like I made love to her or made love to him and then understood what the energy actually is. Oh, it's only energy. It's an activation port within myself, and the Shiva exists everywhere.
Right.
Right? And we call it the Shiva, but it's the activation within the living library within the creator, which is Shiva just told me, man, when I have interactions with him, it's the being that comes out of the energy. He's like, all I care about is that you're safe and okay, right, from your path. And if you have questions, I'm here for your rising, your ascension. I'm not here to invest you in a direction that I want you to go in at all. I'm not here to if you pray to me, I'll take it, but I'm just an energy source. So if you choose to be the alchemist,
right,
if you choose to be the creator, which is what you are, if you're not afraid, which is going to bring me up to my next point. We were talking about fear, right, and what it looks like. My dragon, when I first saw it, I was frightened.
Yes.
And I stood and I wouldn't let my feet, like I was shaking, but I wouldn't move my feet. Like, no, I'm going to stand here and look at this thing.
Yes.
And it rose up, and I swear to space Jesus, I was going to shit my pants. Like, I was like, yo, this thing is real. This can't be real. And there was a whole bunch of them. And I go, oh, no, this is... And then I went, no, time out. I faced the giant snake, which was bigger than this guy, and he ate me. I faced the shark, which I was afraid of. I faced the spiders. I faced the AI. I faced reptilians.
Because you put it into perspective.
Every single one of you. I faced all your mimics and your diseased characters that you distort and distract us with, facing them down. You know what? You with me or you against me? And then he said, you promised that you would take those with you who wanted to go. And I want to go with you. And I said, are you serious? And all the dragons, there was a bunch that disagreed and wanted to just kill everyone. That's just what I was privileged to. And the ones that wanted to come, we all like energized together. I touched these crystals in their chest. And then the shock and awe factor, it never wears off to where you're like, well, it's just him. No, it's always beautiful and it's awesome each time. But the astonishment where if these things come in, and you were telling me like, oh, you see me like this? I'm so powerful. Because if you shake your core when you see one of these things for real, they'll want you to pray to it right away.
Yeah.
Pray to me. I'm so powerful. I'll give you power. And the answer is no. Yeah. Rock and roll, guys. I love you guys so much. Thanks for taking the time for being here with us. Stick around. The Paranormal Portal's up next. And shout out to Truth Frequency, because that's how we roll. Your protection
from deception.